Job boards! If you are in the executive job search right now, they are the bane of your existence. Now, I'm going to tell you in this video why that is and what you can do to bypass them. So, you've probably found this yourself. When you've been starting your executive job search, you go on LinkedIn or Indeed or Glassdoor and you look for a role and you find something that's interesting. Problem is, it has 300 applicants already. And you're thinking to yourself, how am I supposed to stand out with all of these people who've applied? Right? And what you don't realize, and a lot of people don't realize, is that, okay, that is the number of people that have applied on LinkedIn, but what about the number of people that have applied through Indeed or Glassdoor or the company website? So that 300 applicants is more like 1,000 or 2,000, right? It's crazy. But it doesn't have to be this way. Once you understand how job boards work and why this happens. So, job boards exist obviously for the same reason that any other company exists, and that's to make money. Now, how do job boards make money? Now, people often don't think this deeply and get a little bit confused about how job boards work. They think, well, job boards help people get jobs, so do they get paid when someone gets a job? No, they don't. Job boards get paid when somebody clicks on a job ad or clicks the apply button on a job ad, right? So, what does a job board want to encourage? Right? They want to encourage as many people as possible to be, first of all, on their website, because that's how they generate the clicks onto the job postings, right? And they want as many people as possible to apply so that they get all of these clicks on apply for that individual job. So what does this mean in reality? Well, first of all, it's no wonder that many of the job boards out there are actually owned by the same company, right? Aimed by a Japanese holding company called Recruit Holdings Co. Limited, a multi-billion-dollar company, right? And their one job is to just generate as much internet traffic to these job boards as possible, right? And that's why, because that's how they make their money. But what it means when you look into it is the fact that job boards actually profit from failure. Job boards profit from failure. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, if you think about it, and if you think about it deeply, when someone comes onto a job board, right, it's very unlikely that the first job that they apply for is the one that they end up getting. Oftentimes, they never get a job from a job board. That's another story. But when people come on, they rarely ever just apply for one job and then get that job. What happens in reality is they apply for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 jobs, right? And they keep going. I've read about people who've applied for thousands of jobs. Who wins in that scenario? Well, not the company doing the hiring, because they have this giant pool of people that they have to trawl through, and it's why they have applicant tracking systems to help them do it. Certainly not the candidate who's spent all this time applying for thousands of jobs, right? So who's benefiting here? It's the job boards, because they are earning thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars from people who are clicking on job ads and clicking apply. Now, this is what most people don't understand, is that because of this situation, companies don't want to use job boards. Do you think a company is going to want to use this system, which is going to give them this huge tidal wave of casual and not so serious applicants that they're going to have to trawl through to try and find somebody that they might want to hire? No, of course they don't. That's why job boards are bottom of the list when it comes to potential ways that a company finds their people. And it's why, as a candidate, you need to understand this. Right? Because the next tier up from job boards is recruiters. Why are recruiters better than job boards? Well, from a company's perspective, they're more expensive, right? If you're securing a role for $400,000 a year, right, recruiter will take $100,000 from the company as a commission for finding that person to fill that role. That's a lot of money, right? But what does it mean? Well, when you work with a recruiter as a company, they deliver 3 to 5 candidates to you who are all pre-vetted, all fit the job description that you're interested in, and it's going to be pretty easy to find the person that you want instead of looking through 2,000 applications, having to do all the interviewing yourself and all those other things that what happens with job boards. Right? So recruiters are technically better than job boards when it comes to from a company's perspective, but far, far better than recruiters are internal referrals. Right? Referrals from people that you already know or that people in your company know. When you get referrals as a company, they are free, right? And also, when somebody in your company is referring somebody into as a candidate, there's a good chance they're going to be a great fit. And it's why, right, when you look at the statistics, referrals make such better hires when you're a company. And so as a candidate, you need to think about this. You need to kind of reverse engineer this in your mind, right? Job boards should be the bottom of the pile when it comes to what you're focused on because of all the things that I've just talked about. Job boards exist just to make money, and they make their money through failure. They make their money by generating competition. They want that competition, which is not good for you, and it's not good for the company that's hiring, right? So that should be bottom of your list of things to do, right? And not only that, job boards are bottom of the pile as well because not all of the jobs that are out there are actually advertised on job boards. It's called the hidden job market. Why is this the case? Well, if you think about it, if companies prefer referrals as the most valuable candidate source, and then recruiters are the second most valuable candidate source, neither of those jobs are advertised. You can't find them anywhere. You can't go online and apply for a job in the hidden job market. It doesn't even make sense. That's why only 20% of roles ever even make it to job boards. So when you're thinking about your executive job search, if you're thinking about utilizing job boards or you have in the past, and you think the answer to your challenges is to go and just improve your resume or work with a resume writer, or maybe just put these keywords into your resume so you can finally get past the applicant tracking systems, that's not the answer. The answer is to understand how the hiring process works. And the hiring process works from the perspective of how companies actually go about hiring people, right? And the studies which show where the people come from, why those people are the most valuable candidates that come in through that source. And when you do this, you'll realize that 80% of jobs are never even advertised. And most of those jobs are in this referral bucket. Most jobs are filled through referrals, through networking, because it's cheaper, it's faster, and it allows for the best hires. Of course, every company would do that. The only reason they use recruiters is to fill usually tough to fill places where referrals don't really make sense because you can't find those people, or you've tried referrals or you've tried something already and you just can't find the person that you want. And very, very last, bottom of the list, are job boards. If you want to generate a huge number of candidates to come in, sometimes companies want to do this for various reasons, right? But typically they don't, because it takes a huge amount of resource to get through all of the candidates that come in, and the candidates that do come in are typically lower value than those that come in through recruiters and referrals. So you really need to understand this, because so many people come to me and they say, James, yeah, well, my job search approach is make my resume better. My job search approach is just find the right job on the job board. And this is why I reiterate over and over again, job boards are not the answer, because most of the jobs on there to start with, only 20% of all the jobs available are on there. And second of all, when you actually go onto a job board, you're competing against everybody else. Right? There was a recent study that said 93% of candidates in the job market are applying on job boards. 93%. Guess how many are trying to get referrals? 7%. 7% of candidates go into a company as a source for candidates through referrals. 93% are trying to get in through job boards. Statistically, it's just a no-brainer. You cannot focus on job boards. They shouldn't be they should be a very small part of your strategy in the executive job search. I hope this has been eye-opening for you, because so many people just don't realize this. So many people don't realize that they should be turning their job search on its head, right? You've heard in the past, network, right? Network for a job, network to get a job. People don't just say that for fun. It's because that statistically, based on various studies, is the way that you identify the best opportunities and get the best roles. Right? So you need to think about your job search strategy, before you think about the tactics. The tactics are, what keywords shall I add to my resume? How do I get in contact with the recruiter? The strategy is, well, how do I go about my job search? What does it actually look like in reality? And how am I going to get the thing that I want to get? That's what matters, right? So, like I said, job boards, bottom of the list. They really, really are not going to help you. And you really need to focus on the other aspects that are going to give you much, much more success.